Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we're going to talk about one-way and two-way communication. Now, as I told you earlier, this is not something new. It's going to be a little easy for you to understand because this is already we have seen. So the first thing is that one-way communication is from your browser to the server. So what we have seen over here. So this is basically a one-way communication. So what do you mean by one-way communication is that? Or you can call it like to easily remember one-way authentication or one-way trust, one-way trust acquiring communication like that you can think. So when the browser makes a connection to the server responds with a public key, right? Now this public key is verified in the trust. Now where it is verified, it's in the browser end. So and then the browser gets to know how to communicate with the server, like how to encrypt and send the message. Now, is the server validates anything over here about the browser? It doesn't, because it's like the trust happens one way here, where the information is going to send from the client to the browser. So now, if you understand the response, right, the response is going to be very simple. The response mostly is generic response, yeah. So if the browser asks for the payment page, server is going to respond with an empty payment page. So who's going to fill that empty payment page? It's the client or the browser. You are at the client end who will be actually filling that payment page and then sending back to the server. Now, that information needs to be secured more than anything else. Even the communication which is sent from the server to browser will be still secured, but then it will not be encrypted. Okay, so the information which you're putting it across, like your payment details, will be actually needs to be encrypted, and it does the encryption, send it to the server. Now, server then responds with a success or failure. That's it. So either you will get a success page saying that this is your reference ID and your thing is confirmed, right? Or else you'll get the payment page saying that, oh, there was a communication error. Please try again after a few minutes. So pretty much straightforward response from the server, but not much of a data which is shared. So it is basically the trust store which actually trust over here. But let's go to two-way communication. So the two-way communication are a bit different. So it's like one server is communicating to another server. Let's take, for example, that you are in a hospital and you are raising a claim for insurance, and that claim has to go and connect to the insurance company. Okay, so when you raise that particular case as a hospital employee, you have a portal. In that portal, you go and send this. This is the person name. This is the dates he was in. This is the medical insurance number, and then you hit enter to send it to that. Now the hospital server goes and talks to the insurance server. Now, how does the insurance server knows that this is the hospital server who has this incoming connection? It's because the hospital server's certificate of the root certificate. So the hospital, when you talk about internal organizations, right? Internal organization will there have their own own certifying authority, where you will not have externally. For example, if you're working for a company, if you open your company laptop, and you will be able to find that company's root certificate will be accepted, and all your company's website, internal website, will have that root CA. That root CA you will not find on your personal laptop, but then you find on your company laptop. It's because when the company is doing an update, right, they will also make the certificate as part of your root certificate. It will be part of your this particular stuff. But when you go and access on your local computer, you will not find that a particular root certificate added. It's because it comes with the organizational updates. Now, what happens is that this root certificate needs to be exchanged. Now, why not the personal certificate? Because personal certificate expires very often, and it's very hard to keep in track. So either you go for the root or intermediate certificate, which expires 15 to 20 years, right? So you go for that and you add that root certificate of the, let's say this one is the hospital server. You take the public certificate of that root CA, or root itself is a public because you cannot see the private certificate. You take that and you put it on the trust store of server B. Okay, so you can see that it's coming over here and going to the trust store. And you take the root certificate over here and put it on the trust store of server A from the insurance company. The root certificate or the personal certificate, whichever you prefer. You either put either of that. Okay, root or personal. Personal means you have to keep on updating it. Root means you don't have to update it for at least for 15 years. If your validity is for 20 years, 15 years, you don't have to update it. But then after 15 years, they will start the process of updating the next root certificate. That time, everywhere, wherever you have in the public certificates, right, this root certificate needs to be replaced because the root certificate expires means that it's a long process, and understanding whoever has that public certificate of root CA needs to be updated with a new root CA, which is getting updated because 20 years is going to come and that will expire. So that's a very different and difficult process, but it happens every 15 years, right? That's completely okay. Sometimes you never know, the company wouldn't even exist in 15 years, so you cannot be so sure about that. So what this means is that here the trust just doesn't happen in one way, it happens in two way, because they have to exchange data, and these data needs to be encrypted both the ways, and both the guys needs to know each other, and without that you'll not be able to communicate. As you know, that the server is communicating to the trust store, and then the client browser is encrypting the data and sending over here, but here it's not the case. So when I do the claim that this guy is going to respond back with some questions, and those questions also needs to be encrypted. Now you may ask me, oh, if it's within the organization or within this group of organizations, why do we have the requirement to encrypt it? You never know. The employee can be working from home. He'll be working from office. He will be working from a restaurant cafeteria. He'll open his laptop and work from somewhere. So there, the data should not leak, right? When it's connected to that local network, you're not always connected to office network all the time, right? So that is the reason why we need SSL for. Okay, that is the reason why we exchange certificates for. All right. I hope this video made you clear the difference between one-way and two-way communication. Now here we can use one key store for both public and private, or you can use two key stores, especially for one for public certificates, which is like key store for public certificates, or a key store, or you can have one key store for trust certificates. It's completely up to you. How do you want to choose this? Thanks again for watching this video with patience. I'll see you on the next one.